Ladies and gentlemen, hello there. Welcome one and all to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. And I am, of course, MrWarrenHayes. And this is typically, I should say, what we call the Raw Recap Show. And this, because it's Monday night and it is after Monday Night Raw, which is a WWE program where people pretend to hit each other. And it's a lot of fun. And, well, usually it is, but I thought tonight was fun. Oh, spoiler alert. There, you don't have to watch the rest of the recap show. I liked Raw tonight, folks. Thank you. But what Raw are we talking about, though? Oh, that's the big mystery. Well, you know, it's the June 10 edition of Raw. There's no big surprise there. You know, especially if you're watching live, especially if you're here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, where I do this live every Monday night. 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have a bunch. Listen, this is what I'm going to call the folks in the chat tonight. I'm going to call them stalwarts. I'm going to call them primo numero uno friends of the show. That's what I'm going to call them, because let's be honest, folks. Let's be completely transparent with each other. You know, we're up against some pretty stiff competition. The NBA Finals, big story this year. Toronto Raptors, it's a big deal. We're up against some legitimate competition tonight. You know, not just the table for three with the Riot Squad, which is still pretty awesome, and I would be watching right now if I didn't have this commitment towards all of you. The point is that everyone who's here tonight instead and not watching basketball, I salute you. I salute everyone here this evening. I salute Bobaruski, Metal 2006, Brian Payne. I salute Michael Stepney, Hawkeye. Did I say Brian Payne? Brian Payne, did I tell? I think I'll mention you twice, Brian Payne. That's what I mean. That's just the reality. That's just what we deal with in our day-to-day lives as people who stream live content on the internet. Some forces are immovable like that. And I don't blame anyone who wants to watch, a game that is potentially the final game of the NBA season. It could be a historical one, first time that a Canadian team wins an NBA Finals. I mean, yeah, I get all of that. But for those of you who are here live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, I salute you. I salute ye. Pahoo! The Warriors won? Okay, well, screw the Warriors. Now, where is everyone then? Brian Payne in the chat was telling me that the Warriors won, so where the hell is everyone? Jesus Christ. What are they doing? Watching the post show? No, this is dumb. But you know what? If you are watching live right now, or even if you're watching it on your own free time, a thumbs up on this video is very much appreciated. If you want to just take a minute to just either use your little handheld device and you use your finger like this and go boop on the little thumbs up, that's fantastic. Or if you use your mouse, you can glide the little cursor onto the thing and go. That's pretty cool, because YouTube, that helps YouTube know that you enjoy my stuff and it should be recommended to other people. And I appreciate that. That helps grow what I do. It's fantastic. There has been a growth spurt recently. I'm at 410 subscribers. I mean, it's still not. Look, we're not bringing in like PewDiePie numbers here, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me, and and I thank everyone who's subscribed and watches, just like I thank everyone who listens to my show on their favorite podcast application. Because the MrWarrenHayes Show is also available in podcast format. If you prefer to just listen, that's also feasible. Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Podcoin, Himalayas, Castbox, everywhere fine podcasts can be heard. The MrWarrenHayes Show is there as well. So there you go. So, and if you're watching, if you're listening there, feel free to leave a review or subscribe, follow, leave a star, a thumbs up, whatever you, a heart. Perhaps there is a heart, like a like. Just feel free to show your appreciation there as well. That would be very, very much appreciated, because that's how appreciation works. And yeah. And then tomorrow is going to be the SmackDown Live recap, 10:30 p.m. right here, live again on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Wednesday night. What are we expecting on Wednesday night? Well, yes, silly billies. It's the 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on Fightful Select, the premium service to Fightful.com. Premium, top-notch, numero uno. Lots of numero unos tonight. Combat News Sports website that you can go over to enjoy and enthrall yourself with. Get all your scoops, get all your exclusives right there. And then on Fightful Select premium service, you get a bunch of extra wrestling related content, such as my 205 Live NXT UK recap show. I also do retro reviews with Sean Ross Sapp. Over there, we have one recently did the first Nitro, and that was a blast to do. It was a lot of fun. I also did, I also did a bunch of them, but you should go check those out. We also have, Sean does extra content. He does Q&A sessions. He does a weekly news wrap-up as well. And you have Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender every weekend, where he covers non-WWE programming. Look, there's something for everyone. Fightful Select, $5 a month. You should go check that out. Another thing you should go check out as well, guys and gals, is a fantastic website called Bell to Bells. And that Bell to Bells is run by someone close to me, someone that I chat with on occasion, named Kristen Ashley, and she's the editor-in-chief, part owner of this website dedicated to women's wrestling coverage. All it is, from A to Z, and it's fantastic. We have a whole bunch of fantastic people writing some fantastic opinion pieces. We talk about news, all sorts of stuff over on belltobells.com. And very, very soon, the Bell to Bells Audio Visual Club is going to premiere. So you'll be getting more podcasts for you to listen, as if your stack wasn't big enough. But you're going to have to make room, because I'm going to be doing some stuff. We've got some surprises coming up. Let me just put it that way. We got some cool stuff coming up. Really do have some cool stuff coming over there on the audio and video side of things. So go check it out. Bell to Bells, BELLTOBELLES.com. Follow us on Twitter at Bell to Bells as well. So that way you're sure you won't miss out on a single thing. Oh, thank you everyone who are thumbing the video up in the chat right now, is signifying Robert Larry just came in. Look at Robert Larry here. Prime example of a friend of the show. He was, like I said, watching the basketball game, and the basketball game is over. What did I ask, chat, right? You can confirm this. What was I wondering when I found out that the basketball game was over? It's like, where the hell is everyone? And look, Robert Larry, he comes in, and not only does he come in and grace us with his presence, and I feel touched. Not only that, but he apologizes. He says, sorry I'm late. Robert, thank you so much for dropping by after the game. What do you mean he's not missing out on anything? He missed out on all my plugs. Christ. The guy instantly turns on his chat. Just like that. All right. Let's start talking about Raw then. Let's start talking about Monday Night Raw. Hope everyone... I don't know if anyone had the opportunity to watch it this evening, but I'm going to tell you guys, I spoiled it straight off the start. I liked tonight's Raw. I thought it was a fun time. I think there was only like one thing throughout the entire evening that completely bummed me out. But overall, a much more solid episode of Raw than what we've had over the past few weeks. I had a good time. Look, give me a second here. It's in my neck of the woods here today. It is like the first really warm day of the year, and I'm kind of sweaty and hot, and I just realized I have my shoes on. So I'm going to take off my shoes because, there's a lot of your comfort as a human being that goes through your feet. And if your feet are uncomfortable, then your whole body is going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to have an attitude. And I don't want to have an attitude. I want to have a good attitude, not a bad attitude. But if I stayed all like tied up in my shoes and see, my feet are breathing right now. Oh, this feels really good. Oh, good. All right. Just move the shoes over here because they're sneakers and they kind of, they have odor. All right. Let's start. Never mind all this shit. See, this is what happens when no one shows up in the chat. No, this doesn't. I can't even blame. I just do this shit. This is all on me. I can't blame anyone else. Let's get going. Seth Rollins hits the ring to start off this episode of Monday Night Raw. He starts talking about how it's a new era for the Universal title. Blobbity blob bloop. Baron Corbin comes out. He gets a hostile reaction from the San Jose crowd. Corbin is baiting them though into not letting him speak. So it was okay. It was efficient for what it was. He says, Seth, you keep talking about Brock. But you should be worried about me because I'm your opponent at Stomping Grounds. And after Stomping Grounds, I'm going to be the new Universal Champion. And he says, he's getting a rematch at Stomping Grounds. Now, two things before we go on first and foremost. First and foremost, when I hear Stomping Grounds, like I'm a coffee fan. So when I hear, Stomping Grounds, I'm like, what? Who's pulverizing their coffee with their feet? First and foremost. Second of all, isn't there not supposed to be any more rematches, like automatic rematch clauses or whatever? Wasn't that didn't like the McMahon Helmsleys, didn't they say that they didn't want to do this anymore so that they could keep the matches fresh? Because this is not fresh. This is day old fish left out on the counter. This is what this is. Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. It's not just because it happened last Friday. This has happened before. This isn't like this is not fresh. I don't call this fresh. Anywho, he's getting his rematch. And he says, just to make sure everything is called fair and square, he's going to be looking for a special guest referee. And Sami Zayn comes out. Sami Zayn would like to be the special guest referee. Sami says, Seth being the Universal Champion, he says, he tells Seth, Seth, I like you as a person. Unlike these people here, I like you as a person. But he says, you being the Universal Champion, Seth, that's not good for you as a person. He says that you're in a swirl of toxic masculinity. Oh my. Did Vince McMahon go on Twitter recently? A swirl of toxic masculinity. And you're trying, you and Brock, that's who's in the swirl, and you are both trying to protect your fragile male egos. And Sami says, I think it would be better for you if Baron was Universal Champion. And Seth says, well, Sami, what are you doing? What's in it for you? And he says, well, I might have a favor here. And then Kevin Owens comes out. Wild card! All the rules! Kevin Owens comes out and he's the wild card. He says, yes, Sami's back. And basically, this all sets up for the main event. the main event, which is going to be Kevin Owens actually says, since I'm here as the wild card, whatever that means, we might as well have a fight. Oh, I like that. So basically it sets up a match later on in the evening where you have Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. And then a little later on, it's going to be established that Sami Zayn is going to audition to be the special guest referee at the Stomping Grounds. And he's going to be an outside referee. Look. I'm not a fan of opening talk segments. I just like things to move along, and especially like to see some action. But, I mean, this was okay. It was fine. It just said everything. Everything was clear. Everything made sense. My wrestling started making sense tonight. So, okay. Like, outside of the wild card rule, which will never make sense, everything was okay. Oh, I want to say hello. Oh, look at that. Kristen Ashley has joined us. We have Blaine Mendoza, the mod who can beat up all the other mods. And Joe Anthony's here as well. Look at that. Starting to fill up. Robert Larry says the WWE will never change when it comes to having the SOS matches. Same old shit. And people are excited that the Warriors won. Okie dokie. I'm glad people are excited that the Warriors won. I'm just glad people are excited in general. It makes me happy. Because I get excited. I get excited for a bunch of things. All right. By the way, just before I go on, I would like to take a second just to point out, Kristen here talked about it earlier today on Twitter, and I do want to point it out. Today, June 6th, marks her 3-year anniversary of being sober, and I would just like to take a second to congratulate Kristen on that. And Kristen, I'm so very, very proud of you. I could not be prouder. And it is a joy to be able to share your life with you as you're going forward with this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me in, and congratulations again. I'm super proud of you. All right. That's enough out of that. Let's move on. Lucha House Party versus Lars Sullivan. This is another match between these people. Not you people, these people. This is like what? Part 11 of their 16-part series? I don't know. But look, I got to tell you guys. I didn't watch Superstars Showdown, Super Shakedown, the Saudi Arabia show. I didn't watch it for reasons that I feel should be clear by now. I don't think I should have to explain any further why I didn't watch the Saudi Arabia show. But I did watch all the previous installments. I did see the GIFs on Twitter. Like I know what happened. I know Lucha House Party were able to beat Lars. So now we're moving on. Lars is having another match with them again, and it's an elimination match. So basically, Lars eliminates Kalisto first. He eliminates Lince Dorado next, and then he eliminates Metalik, but not before breaking up the pin twice so he can go beat up on Kalisto and Lince again, then come back, and then come back to the ring to finish off Metalik. And I'm gonna say this. I mean, this was nothing. Like there was nothing here. But if there's one thing the WWE is doing right, is how they're positioning Lars as an absolute monster. And what he did here, ultimately what he did, is he beat Metalik with 3 finishers. And this is what it established, really. You know, he has the freak accident, which is his side slam. He has his running sit-out powerbomb. And that dreadful, god-awful shit. Lars, stop doing it. The diving headbutt. No one should do diving headbutt. Stop. Lars. Cut that shit out. But he established that he has 3 big finishers that he can finish off dudes with. And he was very, very violent. And, you know, if you're building a monster, if you're building a guy and you want him to come across as credible in a way that he can beat anyone in a number of very powerful and painful looking ways, well, this was the way to do it. So I was okay with the segment. It did what it had to do. So yeah, I mean, you know, I hope we're done with Lucha House Party and Lars. I think Lars is ready to move on. Give him something with a little more meat to chew on. So there we go. Blaine tells me that the Saudi show sucked ass. Okay, good. Oh, I saw the awful ending between Goldberg and Undertaker. And that was exactly how I imagined it. Like, I didn't want to be overtly negative, you know, but chatting about it, you know, in private with people. Like, it won't be good. And these guys, you know, they're probably going to end up really hurting each other. And man, Taker just dropped him on his head with that tombstone. Oh, there's nothing good. Like, there's really nothing good. They should all just, like, take a breath, move away. We're don't need this anymore. Oh, I just got a pass for every little time I forgot to give Kristen any little attention on stream. Yay. Thank you, Chad, for extending. Congratulations to Kristen as well. She does deserve them. Michael Stepney says, 3 minutes of my life that I'll never get back, i.e. the Lucha Jobber Party getting squashed by Sullivan. You know, it's hard to disagree with that vision as well. We go backstage where we are having some 24/7 shenanigans. Truth is hiding with Carmella backstage. She's running from the WWE C team. They're at the they're all at the elevator. They're trying to ring in an elevator, but they can't get in. They can't. Well, no, they're waiting for the elevator to come, but there's no ref, so they can't pin Truth. There's no ref. So just as the ref arrives, though, the elevator does open and Truth gets in there with Cedric Alexander, EC3, Drake Maverick, Heath Slater, and Carmella as well. He gets in there, the elevator doors close, and then the elevator starts to move, but then it gets stuck between floors. And this is what we're going to be. This is what we're going to enjoy for the rest of the evening. It's this elevator segment where all these people are stuck inside, and I liked it. I'm a bit of a sucker for the 24/7 title right now. I think they're doing a great job. There's a Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch split screen interview. I am never a fan of those. So, and I mean, nothing of importance was said here either, despite the fact that both ladies are very good on the mic. Am I grooming myself right now? Perhaps. Both, aside from the fact that both women are very, very, very good on the mic, that's not the problem. There's just nothing was said. There's nothing really important. Then we cut to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross backstage. where Alexa starts talking shit about Bayley to poor impressionable Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross, who this is clearly what they're setting, what they're establishing Nikki Cross as, this naive, overly trustworthy young lady, who's obviously never watched an episode of Raw for the past 2 years and has never seen Alexa Bliss and how she acts with her friends. Because she was too busy being insane in NXT. I guess that's the reason. But no one backstage cares to tell her, Nikki, if I were backstage, I'd come up to Nikki Cross and I'd be like, look, Nikki, you've been busy with NXT. I get it. Maybe you don't know all that much about Alexa Bliss, but look, here, you go on the network, right? Alexa has her own showcase. What do they call them? Those little those match collections. Go look at those, okay? Go look at those, and then you tell me if Alexa Bliss is a cool cat, right? But no one does that. No one goes and no one's warning Nikki Cross. You know what? The locker room is full of shitheads because no one's looking out for Nikki Cross. No one's like, hey, you know what? Alexa's being Alexa. We should try to warn Nikki Cross. No one is watching her back. Anyway, Alexa's talking shit about Bayley, saying that Bayley was such a manipulator when she was in NXT. She made her feel alienated, excluded from everyone else. Exactly how Nikki was feeling, right? And then here's the moment where my mind just went, where it literally, Alexa Bliss starts telling Nikki Cross that when I'm around you, I can be Lexi. I just play a character. I can be Lexi. So listen. You have the character who is in character telling another character that she's playing a character. Like, my mind can't handle this level of meta. Oh boy! Anywho. This leads into a match actually that we're having later on in the evening where we're having champions. We're having Becky Lynch and Bayley, who's a wild card, teaming up against their respective stomping ground challengers, Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss, who is not a wild card, but she is a wild card for SmackDown. So basically, that'll lead into a match a little later on. But before we get to that match, we have a Miz TV segment. I'm going to go over to the chat here for a second. I want to say hello to Carlos, Sports and Things, just jumped in. How you doing, Carlos? Kristen Ashley says, also, why have Lacey beat Bayley? That means nothing and has no implications in PPV matches coming up. Joe Anthony says that he'd actually prefer a Lacey Bayley feud. Michael Stepney says that's WWE for you, doing things that make no sense. And Sports and Things says fourth wall shattered. Man, that's more than the fourth wall. You're shattering me. You're shattering me on levels. Like the fourth wall is shattered, but then also like, the outside structure and the plumbing. It's just weird. Anyway, so we have a Miz TV segment next. His guest for the evening is Samoan Joseph, who comes to the ring newly minted U.S. title champion. But Joe contests the idea that he is a new champion. because he says Rey Mysterio stole the championship from him, and he was afforded an opportunity to win it back. And Miz is like, oh, an opportunity to win it back. Yes, an opportunity to win it back. That's how Samoa Joe talks. Yes, an opportunity to win it back. Little known fact, Samoans to Canadians sound kind of, like a weird Ukrainian Polish mix. So The Miz shows some footage of what happened last week, where we all know Joe didn't win the title back. It was handed to him. Ray gave him the title. And we come back and Miz says, Ray was being a gentleman. He was handing you the title, and you put him in afterward. You put him into the Coachina clutch. The Coachina clutch. I was so sure when he started to flub the line, I was sure he was going to say the Coachella clutch. I was sure. I don't know why. I just don't know why. The Coachella clutch, though, that'd be funny. Like if Joe decided to change his entrance music to like something by Florence and the Machine. And then he can start calling his finisher the Coachella clutch. So this segment starts turning into a big urinating competition. Where you have, excuse me, where you have a whole bunch of contenders come out. Like Joe and Miz start to get us into a stare down. Braun Strowman comes out. He wants his part of this U.S. title cake. And Bobby Lashley comes out saying that he has history with Joe and he wants a piece of that title. Ricochet comes out. Cesaro comes out, who sucker punches Ricochet. They all start schmozzing, and this leads us into a 6-man tag team match. Holla holla, playa. And it starts off with Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman, who just had a fight of their own over on at the stupid showdown. Braun showing some agility, like actually doing a kip up and doing a roll through as well. And I thought Braun had some great fire in this match tonight. And he was working at a great pace. He and Miz double team Lashley. Cesaro distracts the ref, and Joe takes out Miz. The heels then start ganging up on Miz. Ricochet finally gets in, takes out Lashley and Joe. Flying uppercut on Cesaro. Springboard crossbody on Lashley. Satellite head scissors on Cesaro. Cesaro rolls to the outside, which is followed by the Fosbury flop onto Cesaro. Right on the floor. When we're back from commercial, Cesaro is in control of Ricochet. Goes for the pop-up powerbomb, but it's reversed into a sunset flip bomb. God damn it. I wish Cesaro and Ricochet would fight forever, but I don't think they'll be able to anymore. We'll get to that in a second. Lashley comes in, but Ricochet drop kicks him, and that allows Miz to tag in. Miz goes after Bobby Lashley with some yes kicks. Corner knees happen, where he does them twice and then follows in with the hung up clothesline. Miz avoids an avalanche, DDTs Lashley. Yes kicks to both Lashley and Cesaro, who are kneeling on the ground. He takes out Cesaro, but Lashley avoids the last one and delivers a flatliner on Miz instead. Joe comes in, hits the senton on Miz, covers, but Braun breaks the pin up. Braun and Lashley go at it on the outside, while Cesaro is in the ring. He hits the big swing on Miz, and he swings for a while. That I was getting a little nauseous myself, being perfectly honest with you. Ends up went to the sharpshooter, which was really cool. Ricochet breaks it up. Then The Miz gets the hot tag to Braun, who shoulder tackles Cesaro, avalanches him in the corner. Cesaro rolls to the outside, so Braun goes for the running tackle around the ring on the outside, gets Cesaro back in, another corner avalanche, clubbing blow, covers, and Samoa Joe breaks it up. And Braun and Joe go at it. Braun actually tries to power slam Joe, but Joe squirms out of it, and he's not happy about that. Like, Samoa Joe is not a guy who is used to being lifted. So I think he got a little scared. He just went for his belt and he hit the bricks. Strowman goes after him, but Bobby Lashley, remember Bobby Lashley was on the outside, comes out of nowhere, spears the shit out of Braun Strowman. And then as Lashley gets back up, Ricochet he dives off the apron with his moonsault, barely clips Lashley. I think Lashley sort of missed his cue there, but whoo boy, that was a close one. Back in the ring, the neutralizer, or at least Cesaro attempts the neutralizer on The Miz, which is avoided, who hits the skull-crushing finale and leaves the opening for Ricochet to hit the 630. But oh boy, did he land awkwardly on Cesaro's legs. And Cesaro was really clutching his knee afterwards, and that sucked. Apparently, Cesaro was taken backstage was accompanied backstage. What a fucking shame that is. I mean, look, for two reasons. Because I don't want wrestlers to get hurt. I want wrestlers to have long, prosperous careers doing what they love, and I don't want them to get hurt. This is a stupid, stupid accident, and it bums me out. And it doubly bums me out because, Ricochet and Cesaro, they just had fantastic matches together. The match last week was but then again, all of Raw last week was So what they were doing tonight, it had some spunk, it had some magic to it. I had tweeted out, if you thought about it for a second, Ricochet and Cesaro could potentially have feud of the year in WWE if they, just gave it some legs, let them develop it. That's not going to happen, but you know what I mean. They could potentially have feud of the year. Anyway, I like this match. I thought it was fun. It established a couple of things. Looks like we're getting Braun and Samoa Joe as a feud, and that's good. Because it's not something we've seen yet. And it's going to be for a title. For Braun. Look, the good things here are coming out of this. It just really sucks for Cesaro. If he's really hurt. I hope he's okay. Michael Stepney says, okay, this was a much better six-man tag match than the previous ones. Went at a very good pace. It did. And you know what? It also told the story. We're going forward with stuff. It was not just like, let's throw people together. It created something here. So this was good stuff. We see backstage Baron Corbin, who's playing a game on his phone. He's on his phone, folks. He's playing an iPhone game. Unquestionably. He's not texting someone. Let me know in the chat, what iPhone game is this son of a bitch playing? Because he's not texting people. He's not, maybe he just has calculator app open and he's writing, he's typing stuff in, just counting numbers, writing boob, on the calculator. It doesn't even work. He'd have to have like an old analog LED display for it to work. You'd have to download like a specific app to get, like an old analog feel so that the boob joke would work. When you'd write 8008 and then you turn your calculator around and it would look like boob, and then he'd have to lock his phone lock the screen from turning as he turned it around. But it I feel like that's the kind of thing Baron Corbin would do. I want to say hi to JPQ, who just jumped into the chat as well. Joe Anthony says he's playing Temple Run. Carlos says Candy Crush. Yes! Son of a bitch, he's playing Candy Crush. That's exactly it. Next, we move on to our women's tag team match. Alexa Bliss and Lacey Evans versus Bayley and Becky Lynch. And Bayley goes right after Alexa at the sound of the bell. Hits a sliding clothesline, covers Alexa for 2. A suplex attempt is blocked by Miss Bliss, who arm rings Becky Lynch down, covers her but only gets 2. She tags Lacey Evans in, who hits her slingshot elbow drop and covers but only gets 2 again. This was all on. Did I say Becky or Bayley? Because this was all on Bayley. I think I said Becky from the start. But Becky gets tagged in, and then she starts waylaying onto Lacey Evans. Lacey kicks Becky in the gut, and the heels double team Ms. Lynch. Lynchy? I'm not on that level of familiarity with her just yet. I can't go around calling her Lynchy. Not at this level of our non-existent friendship. Becky tries to go for the Bexploder on Alexa, but Lacey holds on to Alexa's leg from the outside. So Bayley tries to counter all of this, and by going for the sliding drop kick that she does, through the post, on the floor. I've said this recently. I've said this often. This is a move I think Bayley should stop doing. Then last week, she pulls it off. I don't remember if it was, it was on SmackDown. She pulls it off and it connected nicely. Tonight, barely connected. It's such a half and half thing. I wish she'd stop doing it. Honestly, it's not that cool. It's not that spectacular. I don't buy it as a power move. Like, for sure, like if we're just talking pure physics, if you're doing like a standard drop kick versus a drop kick where you slide onto something, by the time, especially with the corner where everyone is positioned, by the time her legs reach her opponent, she's been sliding on the apron and it's been reducing her momentum, right? It just doesn't connect. Even in my mind, it doesn't connect. And physically, the move doesn't connect most of the time. It doesn't work. I love Bayley, but this is one thing she should take out of her arsenal. Back from commercial, Alexa Bliss hits the knees and lifts the knees, and Becky she does she does her spinning knees thing and then gets back up to do her standing moonsault, but Becky avoids the moonsault. And Enziguri follows, but Becky can't get to Bayley, and Lacey is in control. She gets a nice Cobra clutch onto Becky Lynch. Lacey knocks Bayley off the apron to make sure that Becky can get to a tag. But Becky tosses Lacey out too. She drop kicks her under the bottom rope. She tosses Alexa out. Bayley gets up on the apron. Bayley gets up on the apron. Becky goes for the hot tag, but Evans just runs in from under the ring and just tackles Becky out of nowhere from keeping her from making the hot tag. And the timing here was really, really nice. I thought this was really, really good. She hits a swinging neck breaker into a handstand slam, covers Becky, but only gets 2. She goes up top for her moonsault, but Becky rolls out of the way, and holy shit, Lacey Evans just landed flat. Like, she took all of that. Bayley finally gets the hot tag in, and the San Jose crowd explodes. Alexa is in as well. Bayley hits a running knee, hits a sunset flip into the turnbuckle, And by God, Alexa said, look, the GIF is running right here for those of you who are watching. Goddamn, Alexa's head just bounces off the turnbuckle. She's had concussions. Jesus. Evans Becky Lynch then goes after Evans, who's on the outside. And Evans tosses Nikki Cross, who accompanied not Nikki, but Alexa Bliss, to ringside. She uses Cross to block Lynch, and that distracts Lynch long enough to get a woman's right across the face. In the ring, Bayley rolls Alexa up for two. Alexa kicks Bayley off of her. Bayley bounces into the ropes. Evans with a woman's right onto Bayley. So she drops. Alexa then drags her closer to the turnbuckle. She goes up top, goes for Twisted Bliss, but Bayley lifts the knees. But Lacey Evans attacked herself in just as Alexa was going on the top rope, and she comes in and hits a women's right again, and she covers Bayley for the win. I hate punches as finishers. We have proof again tonight that it just doesn't make any sense. She hits the women's right on Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is gone. She hits one on Bayley, but Bayley still manages to avoid the Twisted Bliss, and then the other one. God, I hate punches at finishers. It's so stupid. It really is stupid. And no, not even on the... Look, I've been through this before. Not even on the Big Show is it a good idea. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's a punch. It's a standard maneuver. No one has knockout punches. And it's not credible, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And now the way that they're booking it is confusing, because every week, Lacey Evans throws a right on someone. And then it's like a mid-match maneuver, and then suddenly she throws another type of right, and that's the woman's right that knocks you out. I don't understand. God, I hate this shit. I really, really, really hate punches as finishers. However, I like this match. I like this match. I think it's good. My dearest Kristen was asking earlier, why did Lacey have to pin Bayley? Lacey needed a strong win. I mean, Lacey needed the win. She's going in against Becky Lynch. She was taken down by Charlotte last week, or was it the week before? She hasn't been all that hot. She lost at she lost her match at Money in the Bank. She needed this, so she pins Bayley. That's fine. At least on Raw they need to establish strong females, strong women competitors. We've talked about this before. Most of the B+ to A team, the protected women, they're all on SmackDown. They need to be building these stronger women here. And Lacey, you know what? As far as her character goes, man, Lacey Evans, she knows exactly where she's going with that. She understands her character. It's fantastic. And it was never this well defined in NXT. She's doing well. She's doing very, very well for herself. Joe Anthony says, Big Show made the punch work. You take that back? No, he did not make that work. He was holding back. You could tell he was holding back. Every time the WMD punch came in, he was holding back. And Kristen says, yeah, listen, if Big Show punches me, I'm out for the count. Yes. Look, yes. But these aren't shoot fights. This is pretend things, right? This is like wacky, goofy fights. Where if a guy does 2 full and a quarter rotation in the air, that will end you, as opposed to just one guy falling flat on top of you. That won't finish you off. Robert Larry says, is it me or Lacey trying to be the 80s wrestler Ron? The hands of Stone Garvin. His finishing move was the right hand as well. Yep, and it was stupid. And Carlos says Lacey isn't ready for the title. She's not. But if booking her properly, if they keep booking her right, she's going to be at least a strong heel, which is what the division on Raw needs. Backstage, we see, speaking of strong heels, we see the strongest heel in the entire company, Shane McMahon, who is backstage, and he's talking with Sami Zayn, who wants to be the special guest referee for the main event tonight as an audition, just to try stuff out, just see if he's any good at his job, so that he could maybe be the referee at the Stomping Grounds, and Shane is okay with that. Then we get a quick promo from Paul Heyman, where basically he establishes, he says, you know what? We're not going to tell you when we're going to cash in. We're going to keep it for ourselves. We're just going to walk around with the briefcase, and we're not going to play nice, and we're just going to do it whenever we can. And I'm like, fine. That's what I want. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. This is what we want from our Money in the Bank holder. We don't want him to open. We don't want the Money in the Bank briefcase holder and the champ to sit around and like open up their moleskins together and plan out their dates. When would this be better for you? Oh well, on the 22nd I have a spot of lunch, so maybe No. We want it spontaneous, surprising, and here's the thing. Here's the one thing that y'all have to get into your brains here. No, not necessarily you. I don't know who I'm talking to exactly, but a Brock Lesnar with the Money in the Bank briefcase is oodle times more interesting than Brock Lesnar with a Universal title, because Brock is established as a monster. He's established as a guy who, if he comes in, like, it's instant trouble. You're in trouble. So to just have that idea of him just looming in the background, I think it's fantastic. And I've said this on Twitter. There's people who've come after me and said, and wrestling fans complain that Brock is never around when he's the Universal title. Now they're okay with him not being around when he's Money in the Bank. Make up your mind. No. My mind is firmly made up. Everything is always a question of context. The fact that he was champion with the Universal title and never showed up, and people had to carry feuds with him on their own, that's a problem. Now, here you can have your feuds carry on. You can have things happen. You don't need Brock. Because at some point when you're feuding for a title, you need your champion. But here you don't need him to show up. You don't need him to be here. And that's actually the best thing. It's actually the best thing, to have feuds happen without anyone realizing that Brock is around or that Brock might pop up. And then all of a sudden, he shows, his music hits at the end of a championship match. Everyone goes ballistic. And that's what we want. That's what makes the Money in the Bank title so, not title, but briefcase so great. We're back in the elevator as well. They're having some good banter here, where EC3 says, if we're going to have to be in here any longer, we'll have to resort to cannibalism. And he pulls out a plastic fork from his gear, from his trunks. And I'm like, what else has he got in there? Does he have the full survival kit in there? Does he have like gauze, peroxide? Does he have like a lice brush? That kind of shit. Also, why does he have all that? Why does it? Or even if he doesn't have all that, what is he doing carrying a plastic fork around in his underwear? And they have they have some cool moments. This was a pretty funny segment. Truth says he's afraid of losing his 48-7 title, and he's afraid of Hornswoggle, talking about Drake Maverick. He says, "I'm not Hornswoggle. I'm just a small man." It was fun. It was a good segment. The Iconics beat up a couple of jobbers, Lisa Ace and Aaliyah Mia, and apparently Aaliyah Mia was in the ring. Lisa Ace looked like she was 15, and I was like, uh-oh, mass transit incident. No, I know that wasn't going to happen. Not much here, but, just some heat for the Iconics, saying that they're fighting champions. That'll be interesting. Joe Anthony says EC3's new character is that he's just ready for a picnic at all times. You always want him around. Next we have a Shane McMahon celebration. Now this was the moment that bummed me out the most. Actually, and it didn't start by bumming me out because Drew McIntyre came out first, and he had live bagpipers, which was cool. Plus, he came out in street clothes. Ooh. Oh. Drew McIntyre in a nice little bomber jacket, black jeans, his hair all slicked back. So he comes to the ring. He comes to the ring with Shane because Shane comes out. And he starts calling Roman a Hall of Famer, runs down his accolades. He says, he's such a great wrestler, but he doesn't hold a victory over me. This is Shane McMahon. This is the same Shane McMahon who hasn't lost a single pay-per-view match since the beginning of 2019. This is the same Shane McMahon who is the first man to defeat Roman Reigns since, I can't remember when, since like July last year. This is such... No, I'm exaggerating. Maybe not July last year, but this is so... He really is the strongest booked heel in the entire company, and he's not even a wrestler. And they literally could be doing this with anyone else. Literally be doing this with anyone else. I somehow feel that this McMahon thing, this authority thing, this is what jives for Roman Reigns, but it doesn't. They're doing the same mistakes again. They're just doing the same stuff as they did before. And it really does break my heart. It really, really does. And they have... What if they were booking Rusev like this? As a strong opponent for Roman? Or just Drew? Why not just let Drew do this? Just be booked this strong. Bugs me. Anyway, so they open up some champagne, they drink out of it, and the Revival come out, and this sets us up for another fun match this evening. The Usos versus the Revivals, versus Ryder and Hawkins. It's been so long that Zack Ryder and Curt Hawkins have been on television as your WWE Raw Tag Team Champions that they had to recap their victory from 2 months ago when they got the titles. Just so that people will be like, oh yeah, I remember this from WrestleMania back in fucking April. This was a fun match though. Dawson goes after Ryder quickly, and the Revival then the Revival double team on Ryder. However, Jey Uso jumps in. He and Zack Ryder take the Revival out to the floor, and then they start fighting each other. They have some back and forth. Flapjack by Ryder follows, covers Jey Uso, but he kicks out. Double team by Hawkins and Ryder follows. Dawson tags himself in, and the Revival send Hawkins into the barricade. Back from commercial, Hawkins and Dawson are on the mat. Wilder is in, and they go to double team Hawkins, but Jimmy Uso tags himself in, tosses the Revival to the floor, hits a tope to the Revival, who are both on the floor. Dawson gets back into the ring. Jimmy goes up top, goes for a diving crossbody, covers Dawson, but only gets 2. He hits a Samoan drop on Dawson again, covers him, but only gets 2. Hawkins gets in, eats an enziguri. However, he and Zack Ryder battle back, and they hit a double team Samoan drop neck breaker combo. He covers, but only gets 2. As Ryder tries to go for the Rough Rider, but Jimmy Uso avoids it. Jay tags in. Jimmy eats the Rough Rider, but Jay's a legal man, and Jay goes nuts. He has a super kick party, and then he goes up top onto the top rope. Dawson tags himself in as Jay is flying off the top, hits the big splash on Ryder, I think, or is it Hawkins? I can't remember. But he can't cover. Instead, Dawson rolls him off, gets on top. Wilder holds on to Jay so he can't get in to break the pin up, and Dawson gets the win. We have new tag team champions. Sneaky Revival are your new Raw tag team champions, and I liked this ending. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really did. I thought it was good, was creative, and it just it was really it was I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a fantastic ending to a great match. I really thought it was a great match. All right. I apologize for those of you who are watching on the stream right now. I think the stream is a little laggy, but I'm sure things will get back into normal. We'll get back to normal soon. I'm sure they will. We have a quick Seth Rollins promo backstage. Then there's a nice bonding moment in the elevator with the 24/7 people, where they're all still in the ring. They're doing their best to start bonding. They actually start singing a song together. We are family, right? But then the elevator doors open, and then the ref is there with the entire C crew, and everyone starts beating up on each other, trying to get to your boy R-Truth. Eventually they do, but Carmella is there to save the day and pull him into the elevator, and it's, there's kind of this awkward moment where people are not supposed to get to the elevator, and you have like EC3 who's being held up by the referee, and he's like, oh, he can't just go around. He can't just go around the ref. It's like, the elevator door closes. He goes, nah. Talk about making the best out of a bad situation. That's exactly what they're doing. Most of these guys here in the 24/7 situation here, they're really doing everything they can to just get themselves over a little bit. Why wouldn't they try their best? Sheesh. Then we have our episode, our weekly episode of the Firefly Funhouse. Oh, this is always good. It's always fun. Bray is putting up a sign saying, "Abandon all hope, ye exit here." And holy guacamole, there's something going on with Ramblin' Rabbit and Mercy. Ramblin' Rabbit says he's fed up because Mercy is trying to eat him again. So you guys should have, Bray Wyatt says, "Should I get the Fiend?" Everyone's like, no. Ramblin' Rabbit then says, so maybe it's time for me to expose what's really going on here in the funhouse. Bray Wyatt then, he comes back on screen and he has a clown nose on, and he grabs an oversized and he got an oversized mallet. He starts crushing. He starts crushing Ramblin' Rabbit, and he crushes him to the point where there's gore. There's puppet gore. And it's tasty puppet gore on top of that. What do they call it? Bohemian rabbit spread. Oh, this one got dark in a quick fashion. And I loved how everything stayed nice and cute and colorful nonetheless. It's always good, man. This is always good stuff. Shout out to Shane McMahon and J.S. Brown, who are here with us. Apparently, my voice can be heard perfectly, but my body is frozen in time. And honestly, that's the dream. That's the dream. I want my bod frozen for all existence, but yet my hollowed words continue to resonate throughout history. That's what I want. Really apologize for the stream. Main event time, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Again, another fun one. Sami Zayn is your special referee on the outside. Sami comes in, though, and he actually goes to check, to pat down the wrestlers, like a referee is supposed to do at the start of a match. When was the last time you saw a WWE referee do this? Never. Well, not never, but it's been decades at this point. Sami Zayn doing a fantastic job from the get-go. And he starts, touching the wrist pads, and he's like, "You have a knife? You got a knife?" And then he goes and he pats down really quickly. He pats down Kevin Owens really, really quickly as well. And then Kevin Owens turns to John Cone, like the actual referee. And he says, "Sammy's doing an excellent job. You've never touched me like that. You've never touched me like that." Oh, and he does it with such a deadpan delivery. It's fantastic. So, excuse me. They lock up. Kevin Owens and Seth do. Sammy's on the outside. He's the outside referee. There's an armbar that Seth rolls out of. Snapmare. He snapmares KO over, covers him, but only gets 2. Seth then goes for another cover on Kevin Owens, but Sami distracts Cone to keep him from doing the 3 count, because this match could have been over very, very quickly. Seth drop kicks Owens to the outside, but Zayn comes in, places himself between Owens and Rollins, saying that he has to check on Owens. But so he stalls Seth's advance, but Seth goes around Sami, goes right after Kevin Owens anyway, who drives him into the barricade, then DDTs him right on the floor. So we're back from commercial. KO was in control, but Seth fights back with a jawbreaker. But KO gets him into a backbreaker over the knee, and I forgot to mention Seth has rib tape because of that horrifying beating that he took, right? At the Superstar Showdown. Apparently, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But apparently he took a beating. So the ribs play a part. Kevin Owens is going to focus on the ribs for a good portion of the match. Seth is busted open for some reason. Probably something that happened during the commercial break that I didn't see. Kevin Owens hits a drop kick to Seth's neck, covers him, but only gets 2. Fireman's carry follows, but Seth fights out. He hits a headbutt and some strikes, a sling blade. He tries to suplex Kevin Owens, but the injured midsection it prevents him from lifting your boy Owens. And then KO goes for a really ugly backbreaker. That didn't look good. Goes to the top rope, leaps off with a somersault senton, but Seth lifts his knees. Ouch! KO rolls to the outside. Seth goes for a dive, eats a punch for his trouble instead. He gets tossed into the ropes as Seth avoids the pop-up power bomb and super kicks KO. KO super kicks Seth, and Seth enziguri's KO. They both fall to the ground for a little bit, but Seth goes up top. And Sami gets into the ring to check on Kevin Owens. And Seth is like, what the hell, man? What's going on? So he just jumps off and he's getting frustrated. He's not happy. And KO rolls him up sneakily, but only gets 2. Seth tosses Owens over the top rope. He hits a dive to the outside, which also hooks Sami, who wasn't too far away, but it was purely accidental. He just bumps into him. Back in the ring, he hits the stomp on Kevin Owens, covers him, but Sami pulls John Cone out as he's counting, and he's saying, no, he bumped into me. We should be calling for the DQ. And Cone's like, what are you doing, man? This is nonsense. There's a lot of confusion going on. Not quite sure what the situation is. But Rollins has enough, though. And he puts his hands on Sami Zayn. And Zayn is like, nah! And he calls for the bell, calls for the DQ. And that's how Seth Rollins loses this match to Kevin Owens. And he still retains the title. Of course, it's a DQ loss. Don't get excited. Everything's all right. That's terrible. Terrible, sad, heartbreaking situation. But nonetheless, that's what happened. There's a great shot of Kevin who's on the ground on the floor on the outside as the announcer says, here's your winner, Kevin, by disqualification, Kevin Owens. And then it cuts directly to Kevin, who's flat on his back, and he sort of sluggishly lifts his arm. It was such a good shot. Perfect timing. And then Rollins attacks Sami Zayn after. Then in comes Baron Corbin. Corbin brings in a chair, but he can't use it. Seth reverses it, and then instead he uses the chair on Sami. He beats the shit out of Sami for the rest of this Raw. Finishes on such a high note. Really, really good show. I thought this was a fun episode of Raw. I really do think, aside from the Shane McMahon shit, which we were all hoping that after Superstar Showdown would be done with the Shane McMahon stuff, but we're not, which is a bummer. But aside from that, stories were advanced / created. We had some interesting angles, some fun stuff, and we had matches. We actually had people fighting. The women look good. The men look good. Everyone looked good tonight. I had a good time watching the show tonight. Hopefully you had too. You did too. And you know what? I hope you had a good time listening to my show, my stream, my recap. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I got a little iffy with the stream here. I apologize for that. I think everything is back to normal now that it's about to wrap up. God damn it. But nonetheless, I do appreciate you. I do appreciate everyone popping in this evening to hang out and listen to me talk about Monday Night Raw. Hopefully, you all come back tomorrow, Tuesday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the SmackDown recap. That would be a lot of fun if you do, because it's always fun with people. And there's no basketball tomorrow, so you don't have a goddamn excuse. I want to thank everyone for joining me in the chat this evening, and I want to thank everyone who's just watching or listening at your own leisure. Like I said, I'll just say it again. Tomorrow, Tuesday, SmackDown Live recap, youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Hope you can make it. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you next time.